Earlier today, I watched a YouTube video titled Trapped in a Psych Ward. Michigan doctor pre-signed blank forms that can rob you of your freedom. It is 25 minutes long and it's a news special. I found it very interesting. The video information was behind my phone, so I had to look behind the phone to go read it. A handful of the people that they spoke with used the emergency room to access mental health services because they had a breakdown or they ran out of their medication. They were trapped in a psych ward for longer than they expected. They expected to be there for a day. They ended up staying there for like 2, even 3 weeks. The psychologist who diagnosed them didn't even talk to the patients. He had a blank form where nurses and other clinicians can fill it out. He didn't even need to be there. So he was just absent, but he was making that money. His signature, I kid you not, I will show you what his signature is. And you can watch the video and see it for yourself. This is his signature. What the fuck is that? That's your signature? Anybody can forge that. And it's almost like an open invitation to forge it. That looks like the type of signature you put at one of those electronic credit card thingy. That's what that looks like. That's the type of signature you do online and you're trying to sign your name with a mouse. There's no reason why a signature should look like that if you're using a pen. I was so surprised. I was surprised that mental health services was like that. I've never been to a psych ward. I've never been hospitalized for my mental health. I have been arrested and went to a psychologist. All of my mental health was court-ordered because I was arrested when I was a child. I was this young goth tween. I think I was 12 at the time. I made a little goth website. I made a hate list and a love list. The list was just a list of things that I liked and disliked. People interpreted my hate list as a hit list. They called it a hit list and it was not a hit list at all. It had shit like candy I didn't like, food I didn't like, shows I didn't like, pop stars I didn't like. And I also had a love list that had food that I liked, people I liked, celebrities that I liked, just your basic teenage stuff. The color nail polish that I liked. When I was arrested, they took my website down. No one could go back and verify what I wrote. My life was basically ruined. I was arrested and then I was put in cell for a day. And then I was released. That whole situation just messed me up. I did not know who I could trust. I did have court-ordered therapy and I did see a psychologist. It was all court-ordered. They just wanted to see what the fuck was wrong with me. Turns out I had ADHD, generalized anxiety disorder, and clinical depression. The anxiety and depression stemmed from my ADHD. I've had my moments where I lost it, but the moments where I felt like I lost it in my adult age was when I was drinking alcohol and also smoking cannabis. And then when I stopped doing those things, my mental health improved so much. I've never been the type to be a harm to myself or other people. I know how to express my anger in other ways. I used art to express my anger. I used poetry to express my anger and pain. And I also had a couple of poems on my little website that were troubling. I think what got me targeted was this one poem that I made about being molested when I was a child. I think someone got scared and so they wanted to just accuse me of being a problem child. And this was in the 90s when goth people were associated with school shooters and stuff like that. And so they thought I was trying to shoot my school up, but I wasn't at all. I was just this weird goth girl. Fast forward to today, now that I'm trying to access mental health services after overcoming my substance use disorder because I was an alcoholic. I'll admit that. There was this one time when I got upset with my boyfriend. He wasn't my boyfriend. He was just this guy, and I slapped him. That was the most violent I had been to another person. I felt so guilty about it. He definitely got me back. I'm not going to say how or whatever because that's in the past. Let's just say that he got me back for slapping him. To be frank, he kind of deserved it. I shouldn't say that, but I feel like if you were a woman, you would understand. At the same time, that's not how you handle a negative situation. You're supposed to talk to the person. I was also drunk at the time. I had 3 or 4 drinks, and my limit is 2. So I was definitely intoxicated. I feel bad, but that's the extent of my violence. Usually when I am angry, I get really embarrassed by it, and I kind of retreat, and I express my anger through art and poetry and things like that. I've never had an issue with violence. When I was younger, I used to do a little bit of self-mutilation, but once I turned 18 and I got piercings, that feeling went away. I think it was just me wanting to experiment with like piercings and stuff and tattoos. And now I have tattoos, but you know, I've never been a threat to anyone or myself, and I'm still not. Fast forward again, going in a circle, fucking ADHD, to today, I'm like letting my psychologist know of my previous diagnoses and letting my health insurance know that I'm trying to access ADHD medicine. And I'm not trying to get like the stimulant ADHD medicine because I've been down that road before and it was really rough. The withdrawals were very painful. I believe children should not be taking that. I feel like children should be taking the non-stimulant because the pain of the withdrawal from the stimulant medication was very bad. It was so bad. It did make me a little crazy, but it was just physically painful. I'm still traumatized by it. Like I still am adverse to that type of medication. And I also have scoliosis. I have an S-curve scoliosis. It's borderlining severe. It's 1 degree away from severe, but I have moderate scoliosis. When I was younger, would experience like shoulder pain and just pain in my back. I was prescribed muscle relaxers so that the tension in my muscles would chill out. I did not like taking those either because it would make me so dizzy that I needed to lay down. And then next thing I know, my day is gone. I'm an Aries. I like to live life and be active, do stuff with my day. I do not like to be confined to a bed. Even just thinking about that scares me. That's like a nightmare to me. What I did instead is I would just not take it, or I would take as little as possible, or only take it on days when I knew I didn't have anything to do. Because if I took it as it was prescribed, I would not have a life. I would just be in bed all day. And I did not like that. And then once I got older, I started doing cannabis, and it helped with my back pain, but it wasn't good for my mental health. I felt like it made me ruminate more and it amplified my anxiety. I was so attached to the routine of smoking, and I liked how it made me giggle. I could still live a life. It eased my physical pain, and I could still leave the house. I could still ride my bike. I could still go to work. I could still do all the things that I needed to do, and I would be able to ease the pain. And when I quit smoking cannabis because I couldn't afford it anymore, I felt all of the back pain, and it was so hard. I was crying like almost every day when I stopped smoking cannabis just from the physical pain. I mean, I still experience pain, but over the past couple months, I got used to the pain. I now take Aleve PM every night. It helps me sleep. It used to help me sleep really well, and then my body got used to it. Now I'm back to my original sleep schedule where I sleep for a few hours, wake up in the middle of the night, and then maybe go back to sleep. Because I'm taking Aleve PM, I can't really take other anti-inflammatory medicine without it ruining my liver. So I started taking this arnica, and this helps. I mean, it's a homeopathic. I feel like it works. And then I also do the icy hot lidocaine patches, but I don't do those very often. I only do it when I really feel the pain, because if I do it like every night, like when I first started using the patches, I was doing it every night, my legs would feel restless. I would have trouble sleeping because I would have restless leg syndrome. And then I remember someone mentioning that they would take magnesium at night and it helped with their restless leg syndrome. So I did that. And now I only do the lidocaine patches if I absolutely need to, because I do not like feeling restless leg syndrome. And then I'm already bad at taking medications. I didn't want to take too much at night. In my most recent appointment with my psychologist, I told her about my night terrors. I've had night terrors since I was a child. It's never going to go away. It's a part of my life. It's frightening when it's there. It takes me some time to get used to it, because when it's bad, it can affect me throughout the entire day. And I feel like the workbook that she gave me for anxiety is helping. She told me to start taking 10 milligrams of melatonin. It helps, but I can remember my dreams. And so when I first started taking that really messed me up as far as my dreams. But then in combination with this book I started reading, I had to find a balancing thought to that situation. The good thing of my nightmares. So what's a good thing about experiencing nightmares? When I have a nightmare, it means that I am dreaming. And when I am dreaming, that means that my body is getting enough rest. At least I know that my body is resting properly. One good thing that this book has taught me is that you need to make time in your day to recognize your feelings, sit with your feelings, and accept your feelings. It's not something that you can do while you're doing other things. You have to make time for it, basically. I'm still working through this book. Today I went over meditation and breathing, being in nature, and I feel like that helped. Luckily, I live in a place that has a yard and there's a lot of green grass. Can be in there and just chill for a moment. It also mentioned posting pictures of nature, keeping plants in your place. I feel like I'm able to control my anxiety and my depression, but I cannot control my ADHD symptoms. Like when I forget things, when I get easily distracted, when I start rambling, when I feel like I'm all over the place and I can't focus on something, I cannot control that. I cannot control that at all. I can accept it. I can accept myself for who I am. I can accept my racing thoughts and the fact that I get pulled in different directions. I can accept myself when I do stupid things like forget my keys or forget a payment or forget something, I'm always forgetting something. Or when I say something stupid, I can accept that about myself. I guess that's another balancing thought that I have with myself, and what I feel like helps ground me is, although I cannot control my ADHD, at least I can control my anxiety. At least I can control my depression. I control my depression by seeking out things that make me feel good, like seeking out music that makes me feel good, being in an environment that makes me feel good, spending time with my dog, eating food that makes me feel good, being creative, that makes me feel good. It used to be like talking to people, being with friends, and being out, running around, but I'm dealing with agoraphobia right now. That's my next thing I'm working on right now, but that's going to take time. I just wanted to give an update, share my mental health story just in case anybody out there is kind of going through it. What do you do when you're a healer but you need healing? And I feel like this book has helped a lot. Another thing that this mentioned that I found helpful is journaling is just as effective as therapy. I know I should seek therapy to manage my ADHD because I can't do it alone. If journaling is just as effective as therapy, at least I can do that until I find a solid therapist. So another balancing thought. It seems like that's all managing anxiety and depression is taking time aside to balance out negative thoughts and coming up with action plans to ease the uncomfortable aspects of it. It's a lot. Mental health is definitely one of those things that you need to take time for. You can't depend on a pill. You can't depend on another person. Like, yes, it can help, but it's not going to solve everything. So many people's lives has been ruined from being over-medicated. Mine was almost ruined from being over-medicated. I had to learn how to deal with my ADHD for almost 20 years before I sought ADHD medicine. I was very stubborn about it because it traumatized me. But once I heard that there were non-stimulant options, I had to give it a try. And it helped. I'm going to be running out, but, I have to recognize that I cannot be dependent on the medication. I will not find healing through pills. I have to find it in myself. I will need to, because what's the other option? I become dependent on medication, and then I need to go to the emergency room, and then next thing I know, I'm stuck in a psych ward that I can't get out of because some absent psychologist is writing out his signature like this and collecting money on behalf of like people who really needed help. If journaling is just as effective as therapy, if medication doesn't really help, if all I need to do to manage my depression and anxiety is making time out of my day to reflect on my feelings and not be afraid of my feelings, I would rather do that than be stuck somewhere and get drugged out. To me, that sounds like a nightmare. I like my freedom. It sucks being stuck in my room all day and not doing as much as I used to because of my scoliosis. I want to hold on to whatever control I have left. Anyways, I wanted to share that just in case anyone else is struggling. I highly suggest giving this book a try. Try to wean yourself off of medications. I also heard that benzos aren't a long-term solution, and it is a very addictive substance that not a lot of people realize is supposed to be a short-term thing. The other YouTube video is called How Big Pharma Makes Healthy People Sick. I highly recommend watching that YouTube video as well. It will show you benzos are only supposed to be for short term. You're not supposed to take it for as long as a year. You're supposed to do it for like a couple of weeks or a few months. And then like after a few months, then it stops being effective. And then you become dependent on it and it just ruins your life. That's a lot. I'm gonna go because I do not want to make this video too long. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful. I hope you check out the videos and check out the book. I hope you are able to manage your mental health as well, because right now the healthcare system is messed up. There's an ADHD medication shortage happening. People with ADHD will have to learn how to accept themselves while the shortage is happening. Because what are we going to do? What are we going to do? I'm grateful that my ADHD medication is a non-stimulant. The worst that will happen to me is that my ADHD will be in full force and it will just aggravate the fuck out of me. But at least I know that my anxiety and my depression is because of my ADHD, not because I have it. Even if you do have depression and anxiety, you need to make time to feel your feelings, do breathing exercises, come up with an action plan, and do things that make you happy and make you feel calm. All right, that's all I have for today. I hope you have a good one. Bye.